In March of 1997, 39 individuals were found deceased in a mansion in Rancho Santa Fe, California. They were members of a group called Heaven's Gate, and their leader, Marshall Applewhite, or Doe as they called him, had convinced them to shed their earthly vehicles to rendezvous with the spacecraft traveling the Hale-Bopp comet. But how did a former music professor and a nurse, Bonnie Nettles, manage to convince educated, often successful people to abandon their lives, their families, and ultimately themselves for such an extraordinary belief? Applewhite and Nettles began their journey in the early 1970s, a time ripe with spiritual searching and a distrust of traditional institutions. They initially called themselves Bo and Peep, then T and Doe. Their message was simple, yet profoundly appealing to those feeling disconnected. They were the two, sent from the next level to guide humanity. Their core teachings revolved around the ideal of Earth as a farm or a kindergarten, and human bodies as mere containers or vehicles. To evolve, one had to renounce all earthly ties, jobs, money, family, sexuality, even their own human identity, and dedicate themselves entirely to the two. What made their message so potent? Firstly, they offered a total explanation for the world's problems. Everything from war to poverty was simply a symptom of humanity's inability to graduate to the next level. For those grappling with existential anxieties, this offered a complete, albeit radical, framework. Secondly, Applewhite tapped into a deep human desire for belonging and purpose. Members often came from diverse backgrounds, but many felt like aliens in human society, a feeling Applewhite validated and amplified. He told them they were special, not truly human, but beings from the next level, awaiting recall. This created an incredibly strong in-group identity. Over time, the group became increasingly isolated. They lived communally, followed strict rules, and engaged in hours of mind cleansing, essentially repetitive viewing of Applewhite's video sermons. This constant reinforcement, coupled with isolation from outside viewpoints, created an echo chamber where Applewhite's teachings became absolute truth.